In 897 AD, the Catholic Church held a trial. The defendant? A pope. The problem? He'd been dead for 7 months. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pope Formosus, who had already been buried, was dug out of his grave, dressed up in papal robes, and propped up on a throne so he could stand trial. This event is known as the Cadaver Synod. And it's not just a weird footnote in history, it's one of the strangest power plays the world has ever seen. First, we need to talk about Pope Formosus while he was still, alive. He was Pope in the late 800s, a messy, violent time for the Catholic Church. Rome was basically Game of Thrones with less dragons and more bishops. Alliances flipped constantly, and the papacy was caught between rival noble families and the Holy Roman Empire. Formosus wasn't exactly innocent either. He switched allegiances, made powerful enemies, and played political chess with kings and emperors. So, when he died in 896, you'd think his enemies would finally let it go. But no, they decided to dig him back up. Enter Pope Stephen VI. He really hated Formosus, and Stephen wanted to make sure that even in death, Formosus couldn't threaten his legacy. So he ordered Formosus's corpse to be exhumed. 7 months after burial, the body was dragged out, dressed in papal robes, and seated on a throne. Yes, this actually happened. But here's the wildest part. Because Formosus couldn't exactly defend himself, a deacon was appointed to literally speak on behalf of the corpse. The charges? Breaking church law, perjury, coveting power he wasn't supposed to have. Basically, they accused him of climbing too high on the ladder of the church. Imagine the scene. The prosecution presenting their arguments, the Pope, judge glaring down, and the defense is a decaying corpse, with a priest acting as his lawyer. It was less of a trial and more of a macabre puppet show. Unsurprisingly, the corpse lost the case. Pope Formosus was found guilty. His papal robes were ripped off, the 3 fingers he used for blessings were chopped off, and eventually his body was tossed into the river Tiber. But here's where things flipped. The people of Rome were horrified. To them, this wasn't justice, it was sacrilege. Desecrating a pope's corpse crossed a line, even in the brutal politics of the 9th century. The backlash came fast. Pope Stephen VI, the man who started this nightmare court case, was imprisoned, and not long after, he was strangled to death. The story doesn't end there. Later popes actually restored Formosus' reputation, declaring the Cadaver Synod invalid and clearing his name. His body was even recovered from the river and reburied with honor. The whole episode became a dark symbol of how far humans will go for power and revenge. It wasn't about justice, it was about making a statement. Not even death can protect you from us. But ironically, it backfired. Instead of erasing Formosus' legacy, it immortalized him in the strangest way possible, as the Pope who was forced to attend his own trial. The Cadaver Synod is still studied today as one of the lowest points in papal history. It shows just how far fear and vengeance can push human beings to literally drag their enemies out of the grave and put them on trial. And it leaves us with the question, what does it say about power if even death isn't an escape?